Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of This Week in Civics Summer Edition. Usually during the school year, these episodes are weekly. Every week, BRI comes to you with a new episode on what's happening in civics, history, and at the Bill of Rights Institute. We're on a bit of a summer vacation, so we're doing every other week for the next couple of weeks. But we would love to hear from you, your questions, your inquiries, what you're thinking about on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. We stream live on all of those at 9 o'clock in the morning, and we'd love to see you there. We know that citizenship is hard work, and BRI is here to help. So we have this episode that is looking at Juneteenth, the 4th of July, and celebrating America with Frederick Douglass. So last week, as many of you know, June 19th became the newest federal holiday. President Biden gave a proclamation that wrote it into our national dialogue, where he said, "I call upon the people of the United States to acknowledge and celebrate the end of the Civil War and the emancipation of Black Americans, and commit together to eradicate systemic racism that still undermines our founding ideals and collective prosperity." It was a really beautiful proclamation calling on Americans to come together in these beautiful June and July weeks and really honor and celebrate one another, to overcome the vestiges of some really ugly things in America's past. And I was thinking about Juneteenth, and I was thinking about how awesome it was that America had this moment of where we denied the vestiges of slavery and say, no, we are celebrating this day. We are working together, coming together to have this be a federal day of unity. And so I was thinking about June 19th, and I'm thinking about the July 4th, and really that kind of 2.5 week span in between. I really think of it as like a civic, almost like a couple of weeks full of civic spirit, right? So there's so many celebratory things that happen in those weeks. We have Juneteenth, we have Father's Day, we have holidays, we have pool times. Like, more babies are born in June and July than any other time of year. So a lot of people celebrate birthdays. But I also wanted it to be not only a time of celebration, but this time of reflection. So I'm encouraging you to read and think about your own American experience. BRI will be celebrating this whole week, or leading up to July 4th. We'll have special videos coming out and thought pieces and all sorts of things that you can do with your families and friends over the course of this week. I encourage you to look at our podcast, The Fabric of History. We have a whole episode on why do we celebrate the 4th of July, links down below. And we have our Being an American curriculum, which actually is 5 units and dozens of activities that you can do around these holidays, thinking about what does it mean to be American to you? How do you honor and support our history while having those hard conversations about some of the rougher episodes? And BRI actually has, we have over 4,000 resources, so you can poke around our website to look at them. But the one I wanted to focus on is actually one of I think it's probably my favorite essay in political speech. So it's probably, I would say it is the most beautifully crafted political speech that I have ever come across. If you have other favorites, let me know. But I think that Frederick Douglass's "What to the Slave of the 4th of July" is a brilliant piece of and when I say rhetoric, I mean drawing the audience in, giving them both logic and reasoning, but also emotional arguments, and you yourself having like the background to be able to come to the speech. It's one of those speeches that's actually very long and kind of takes a circuitous route to its point. He starts out the essay by drawing people in. So BRI actually has some excerpts. If you want to go to our Life, Liberty, and Pursuit of Happiness, we have a couple of excerpts from this essay looking at William Lloyd Garrison and Frederick Douglass on abolition. But there's an excellent behind the speech on Time Magazine's website, where they look at like the history, and they look at David Blight, who wrote this incredible book on Douglass and the history of this speech. And then our friends over at the Ashbrook Center at Ashland University have the entire speech on their site, Teaching American History. And that's where I'm going to go for this. So the speech is this incredible work that takes the audience on a journey. And he starts out by recognizing where he is. So Frederick Douglass was invited to speak in front of a dominantly white audience of about 600 people. Again, this is a time before television, before radio. And so it's very much an oral tradition. People are used to going to listen to speeches. It's how they get their news. It's how they get their it's how people come together. It's a form of entertainment. And so they're used to listening to long speeches and following them. And he does this brilliant thing. So he starts by recognizing where he is. And I'm going to excerpt this speech in a couple of different places because it's just so brilliant. And he says, for the purpose of this celebration, this is the 4th of July. It is the birthday of your national independence and of your political freedom. This to you is what the Passover was to the emancipated people of God. It carries your minds back to the day and to the act of your great deliverance and to the signs and to the wonders associated with that act and that day. And this celebration also marks the beginning of another year of your national life. And goes on to really honor the American independence and say that was an incredible thing that you all did. Again, it's very you directed, which is really interesting. But he doesn't stop there with the honoring. He is direct and clear in his excoriation of the American project as slavery continues. And he says, what to the American slave is your 4th of July? I answer, a day that reveals to him more than all other days in the year the gross injustice and cruelty to which he is the constant victim. To him, your celebration is a sham, your boasted liberty an unholy license, your national greatness swelling vanity, your sounds of rejoicing are empty and heartless, your denunciation of tyrants brass-fronted impudence, your shouts of liberty and equality hollow mockery, your prayers and hymns, your sermons and thanksgivings with all your religious parade and solemnity are to him mere bombast, fraud, deception, impiety, and hypocrisy, a thin veil to cover up crimes that would disgrace a nation of savages. There is not a nation on earth guilty of practices more shocking and bloody than are the people of these United States at this very hour. Whew. Imagine sitting in that audience and having this very well-respected man speak to you on this day about those things and how powerful and meaningful that is. But the thing about this essay, What to the Save of the 4th of July, is at no point can you excerpt just a paragraph. You really have to read it start to finish, because he really does honor the American experiment while being very clear about what its evils are. But he doesn't leave us there. And this is why I love this essay so much. Allow me to say in conclusion, so this is how Douglass ends his speech. Allow me to say in conclusion, notwithstanding the dark picture I have this day presented of the state of the nation, I do not despair of this country. There are forces in operation which must inevitably work the downfall of slavery. The arm of the Lord is not shortened and the doom of slavery is certain. I therefore leave off where I began, with hope. While drawing encouragement from the Declaration of Independence, the great principles it contains, and the genius of American institutions, my spirit is also cheered by the obvious tendencies of the age. Nations do not now stand in the same relation to each other as they did ages ago. No nation should shut down itself from the surrounding world and trot around in the same old path of its fathers without interference. The time when such could be done, long established customs of hurtful character could formally fence themselves in and do their evil work with social impunity. Knowledge was then confined and enjoyed by the privileged few, and the multitude walked in mental darkness. But a change has now come over the affairs of mankind. Walled cities and empires have become unfashionable. The arm of commerce was borne away the gates of the strong city. Intelligence is penetrating the darkest corners of the globe. It makes its pathway over and under the seas as well as on the earth. Wind, steam, and lightning are its chartered agents. Oceans no longer divide, but link nations together. From Boston to London is now a holiday excursion. Space is comparatively annihilated. Thoughts expressed on one side of the Atlantic are distinctly heard on the other. The far off and most fabulous Pacific rolls in grandeur at our feet. The celestial empire, the mystery of ages is being solved. The fiat of the Almighty, let there be light, has not yet spent its force. No abuse, no outrage, whether in taste, sport, or avarice, can now hide itself from the all-pervading light. The iron shoe and crippled foot of China must be seen in contrast with nature. Africa must rise and put up her yet unwoven garment. Ethiopia shall stretch out its hand to God in the fervent aspirations of William Lloyd Garrison. I say, and let every heart join in saying it. Godspeed the year of Jubilee, the wide world over. And when their galling chains set free, the oppressed shall finally bend the knee and wear the yoke of tyranny like brutes no more. That year will come and freedom's reign to man his plundered fights again restore. Godspeed the day when human blood shall cease to flow, in every clime be understood the claims of human brotherhood, and each return for evil good, not blow for blow. The day will come all feuds to end, and charge into a faithless friend each foe. Godspeed the hour, the glorious hour, when none on earth shall exercise a lordly power, nor in a tyrant's presence cower, but to all manhood stature tower by equal birth. The hour will come to each to all, and from his prison house the thrall go forth. Until that year, day, hour arrive, with head and heart and hand all strive to break the rod and rend the gyve, the spoiler of his prey deprive. So witness heaven, and never from my chosen post, whate'er the peril or the cost, be driven. So I encourage you, be driven on these weeks of holiday. Think about your fellow American. Join us as we continue our work to make citizenship available to all. And thank you so much for what you do and for being here on this journey with us. I look forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks. Again, my name is Rachel Davison-Humphreys. I'm Director of Outreach at the Bill of Rights Institute. This is This Week in Civics, and we will see you in a couple of weeks. Thank you so much.